Bros here. I want to do a video on Quenton Johnston, trying to unpack what we've seen with him so far this season in 2023. And also, really review what the additional wide receivers drafted out of the first round are doing. And also talk about Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. What did they do in their first year in the NFL? So, guys, let's get into it.
Bull Bros!
Okay, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew Boltbros. Okay, Brandon Staley's talked quite a bit about Quenton Johnston. Even just yesterday, talked quite a bit about it. He's the beginning of his rookie season. It's exactly a direct quote. Like you said, he's getting more snaps, around 50% against the Cowboys. So he was out there about half of the snaps, which is something we'll look forward to because it allows you to improve when you actually are out there on the field. Of course. The targets will come. There are certainly some games where you beat more than others, as we know, as far as game plans are concerned. But he's just at the beginning of his career, or at the beginning. He just needs to keep putting the right work on the practice field. More opportunities will come. The receiver position, it takes time as a rookie. We have two outstanding guys outside of him. It's important to know that. He just needs to continue to improve and do his part. Okay, ultimately, what I think Brandon Staley is saying is like, at the end of the day, we don't need Quinton Johnston to be the man. We do not need him to be the guy. We don't. We have Keenan Allen, lost Mike Williams, obviously, which is a bummer. But we have Josh Palmer. We have Gerald Everett. We have all these other guys, Austin Eckler, right? These are all other people that can get the ball. Donald Parham. List goes on and on. He does not need to do a lot, right? But he needs to be out there, right? So he can understand the position. Couple things that it said. More you're out there, the more you understand. Again, it's important in the NFL to also understand where you're going and looking at the defense and reading the defense. I'm going to talk more about that here in a second. On Johnson's development with Justin Herbert, it's important. Anytime you have a new player establish rapport, the trust and chemistry with your quarterback, which is Justin Herbert, of course, such a timing-based relationship. In the NFL, a lot of the routes are timing. 3-step drops, 5-step drops. You need to be here at this moment, okay? And it's very important to check that out, right? And make sure you're doing it correctly. We'll talk more about Quenton Johnston, some of the good and some of the bad coming out of the draft as well in a few seconds. You need more time on task. It's a big part of what he is saying about Justin Herbert. They're going to continue to throw before and after practice. It's a work in progress. So they are trying to get on the same page. He needs to continue making improvements, right? It's not just Quenton Johnston, but it's also about Justin Herbert understanding where Quenton Johnston's going to be, where he wants the ball. Does he want high? Does he want a low? It's important. Again, it's going to create confidence for him, not only for himself, but also Justin Herbert. Okay, so we don't need to talk more about Brandon Staley and his assessment. Kellen Moore said essentially the same thing at this moment, right? It's pretty much the same thing. It's just about timing, understanding routes, what to do, route tree, route progression. Let's go into some tweets or some X's. I don't even know what you call them now anymore. Anyway, Quenton Johnston, Jalen Reagor, TCU wide receiver, first round pick, 21st overall. Justin Jefferson, one pick after Reagor. Oh, shit. He's really good. Flowers, Jordan Addison. We're going to talk about Flowers and Jordan Addison as well, too, and their numbers moving forward. But Quenton Johnston, let me give you my assessment. Look, Quenton Johnston, when he came out of the draft, there was a lot to discuss about him. Again, here's really what the scouts said about him specifically. I'm going to add a little more commentary about some other things that I read. Deep threat, speed, stretch the field, tracking the ball, over the shoulder. He makes the first defender miss, which he does. If you even watch the tape on him, he does a very good job of that. He's very kind of shifty and twitchy. Control, balance, contact, very good at contact, breaks tackles. He can pluck the ball out of the air and run yards after catch. Again, these are all things that are said. He has a very tight, wide radius, catch radius. A couple of things that he needs to improve on. Tightness of hips. He doesn't switch in and out very well. It takes too long getting in and out of his breaks. Not good. Other thing I saw, too, was that he also was very bad as route progression, meaning his route tree was very limited. Go routes, post routes, very specific ways of just running the ball down the field or trying to get the ball downfield in his progression. So, again, he needs to get a little bit better at doing some more things and sort of mixing it up. Everyone knows he's going to run a go. Pretty easy to defend a go. He's a high, so this is kind of what's interesting. He's a projected 1-year impact, high impact, day one starter. Johnston should start opposite Mike Williams and make an immediate impact as a deep threat. We have not seen that yet, folks. I mean, I've been watching these games. You've been watching these games. We have not seen that yet. So he needs to improve. And that's exactly what Brandon Staley is saying. So his assessment's not incorrect. Brandon Staley is saying things that are exactly correct about Quenton Johnston. Dan W. said something great here. I genuinely don't understand why the team is doing what Quenton Johnston. He's quite literally the opposite of what I would do. Look, I think there's a lot to be said about this too. This is a great quote because we're using him for the same type of routes all the time, or at least he's running the same routes over and over again. Go routes, post routes, not doing anything different. I would run more stick, slants, screens, short game type stuff. Getting the short yardage would be very good for him. He's a big body. He can get out there. He can make some big plays. Not doing that. That needs to be more involved. Some jet sweeps, motion, all of the above. Those are good things. So we need to get him more involved in some different routes. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. This is a great quote in what happens with players when they go to an NFL team. Just because they're a good player in the college doesn't mean they're going to do great in the NFL. Doesn't mean that they're bad players, but it might mean they go to a team that's not utilizing them correctly. I agree with Dan. We're not utilizing Quenton Johnston correctly. What do you guys think in the chat below? How are we using Quenton Johnston correctly, incorrectly, all of the above? What do you think? I want to hear your thoughts on this. This is a whole conversation around you folks. So let me know what you guys think. Moving on. Let's talk about some existing wide receivers right now. Let's look at the wide receivers drafted right before Quenton Johnston. You guys, it went 4 in a row. I'm going to go right in a row. Seahawks. JSN has had 16 receptions for 110 yards. So not very good. 6.9 yards average, long of 18. Okay, not great. Quenton Johnston, let's look at him. He's had 6 receptions for 44 yards, 7.3 yards per reception. So not great either, right? Okay, definitely improved there. Zay Flowers, okay, probably a good bright spot here for sure. 35 receptions, much better. 367 yards, 10 yards average, 52-yard long, 1 touchy. Okay, much better. Jordan Addison, where is he at? He is currently at 22 receptions for 277 yards, average of 12.6 yards a reception, 4 touchies. Now, remember something really quickly. Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison are on 2 different teams. Very different than the Chargers, right? They don't have a lot of wide receiver depth, both those teams. They needed to get them involved very quickly, especially in the case of Jordan Addison, right? Justin Jefferson's out, most likely 4 to 6 weeks. There's even some discussion he might not come back with the entire season. Why come back? Clearly it doesn't look like Minnesota's doing much as far as having a Super Bowl run at this year. Okay, and we all know what happens with the Ravens most likely. But at the end of the day, folks, these guys are more productive, but they're going into wide receiver rooms with less talent. It's a big part of this conversation, guys. They have less talent than the Chargers have. So remember that, guys, right? So why throw the ball to somebody you have less understanding or familiarity with, right? And that's the whole point. They're in different wide receiver rooms. Now, again, arguments are over and over again. You can say, hey, look, Kellen Moore needs to get him more involved, do something different with him. I agree 100%. Not utilized correctly. Well, let's talk a little bit about Keenan Allen. What did Keenan Allen do as a rookie his first season in 2013, guys? A long time ago. I remember. Came out of the draft. He was supposed to go much higher than the 3rd round, I believe, is where he was drafted, and he was banged up. He had a lot of problems. He couldn't even, I don't even think he even performed in the combine, if I remember correctly. 71 receptions his rookie year, folks. Woo! 1,000 yards, 14.7 yards a reception, 43-yard long, 8 touchies. Hell yeah. 2014, 77 receptions, 783, 10 yards, 0.2, 35, 4 touchies. Bottom line, guys, he did very well out of the gate. Okay, let's look at another wide receiver for the Chargers. Let's see what we see here. Mike Williams. Let's look at Mike Williams. And again, every situation is very different. Now, again, remember, Keenan Allen was already the number one wide receiver for the Chargers. Mike Williams came in as a rookie. What did he do his rookie year? 2017, 11 receptions, 95 yards, 8.6 yards a carry or a reception, 20-yard long. Not good. Not good. And Keenan Allen in 2017 had 102 yards or 102 receptions, 1,400 yards. So it was the Keenan Allen show when Mike Williams was a rookie, folks. And right now, guys, it's still the Keenan Allen show for the Chargers. That's the punchline. At the end of the day, Mike Williams is out, which is a huge bummer for us. But where does this leave us, guys, right? I ask this question a lot, right? And I keep thinking, okay, well, I've thought about this all day today, all day. It's just, I'm a spaz. I'm an idiot. I think about this a lot. Where does this leave us with Quenton Johnston? I'm going to give you my take on Quenton Johnston. Look, at the end of the day, Quenton Johnston is a very talented young wide receiver, but he's raw. There's things he's doing right and things he's doing wrong. What I would say he's doing wrong is not reading defenses correctly. When I see the tape on him, he does things very similar across the board. It's pretty much a slant, pretty much a go. It's a deep route. He's not doing a lot of short yardage plays. Why Keenan Allen is so good is nobody knows where he's going on his route tree. It's very important, guys. In the NFL, if you know this is a slant or a go, they can defend it pretty easily. But with Keenan Allen, he does a very good job of disguising what he's actually doing. Quenton Johnston is still not there. Okay, he will get there at some point. Justin Herbert will get with him there at some point. On top of that, at the end of the day, folks, I don't think we're really utilizing him correctly. I will say the coaching staff, I believe Kellen Moore should use him in jet sweeps, use him in screens. Just get him some more touches, guys. Just put the ball in his hands so he feels a part of the offense and understands what he's doing. I know we're using Darius Davis a lot in motion. He's very fast. I get that. The NFL knows that. He knows he's quick. I love the way we're using Darius Davis, but use Quenton Johnston in that situation as well, too. There's a lot that can be said about how we're using him, how we're not using him moving forward. Again, my prediction, I would say moving forward this season, we will most likely use Quenton Johnston a lot more. His receptions will go up. I would say he'll probably end the season with around 40 to 50 receptions. He'll be okay. Maybe a little more than that moving forward. It also depends on injuries in the wide receiver room at this moment moving forward. But again, at the end of the day, guys, we don't need him to be the superstar that we want him to be. He's okay taking some time growing into the position. That's exactly what Brandon Staley said. That's exactly what Kellen Moore said. That's exactly what I'm saying. Not that my opinion matters. What do you think? What do you think we're doing right? What do you think we're doing wrong with Quenton Johnston? I want to hear your thoughts. Guys, as always, Andrew Bopros. See you guys in the next one.